After 15 years of photography while traveling, I ask myself, have I made any improvements? Can I share them? Let me review and critique my own pictures. We will have a look at 15 pictures from the past 15 years, so let's go! I take photos almost every day. While traveling as a tourist, I take a lot more. That is basically the story behind the name of my YouTube channel, Jonas Hagelin Travel and Photography. My first real travel abroad was in 2007, but let's start in 2005. I was a DJ and sound engineer for 17 years on my spare time. This photo was taken in a venue south of Stockholm, Sweden, with the Olympus C200Z camera. Pretty bad photo. The colors are way off. The only thing interesting in this photo is what I looked like 15 years ago, 32 years old. There is nothing telling us where this is or what it was about, apart from me telling you. This is a big silo being taken down. The EXIF data says 2001, but it is actually 2006. The picture is not sharp, the composition is not too good. My car at that time seems to be the main focal point, but it should actually be the pile of concrete rubble behind it. The story behind this picture is that they did demolish this silo. The friend that I have known for the longest time I met close to this silo. That was about 40 years ago. My family's boat was also berthed nearby for more than 20 years. 2007. My first real travel aboard on my own with a friend. This is from Universal Studios Hollywood and the Water World attraction. I had now bought the Canon PowerShot S3IS and took as many pictures as I could. This picture is at least correctly exposed. The composition is pretty bad. There is a hand sticking in from the left, as you can see over here. It is hard to tell that there were a lot of action going on in this scene. A 3-week trip by car or van to 11 countries in Europe. This is the tower in Siofok, Hungary. The picture was taken from inside the car, which was a pretty bad idea. You can see coins being reflected in the windscreen. Still, it is good to have this picture as a memory that I was there at that time. But since there is no GPS tag, it will not be that easy to find this picture again. Might be possible to crop and straighten this picture. This is a cruise ship in the Stockholm archipelago. Still, I was using my Canon PowerShot camera. Nowadays, this ship is berthed in Stockholm and not being out to sea anymore. So this picture doesn't tell us that much where this is, what time of the year it was taken, apart from looking at the EXIF data, how big this ship is compared to other known objects. However, I know that this ship is fairly small compared to today's ships. Second visit to the USA. Monument Valley. If you know the landmarks of USA, you know that this is the place. Other than that, pretty boring pictures. This is in the middle of the day. In another time of the day, this would have been a much nicer picture. But it is not that easy to pick and match the time and place for a perfect photo when photography is not the main reason for traveling. This is from inside the restaurant Bahia Playa, Puerto Rico de Gran Canaria. I am dancing with my mother on her 60th birthday. One of my other relatives took this photo with my camera. The Canon EOS 60D, a big step up from the PowerShot. Still not that sharp and the background is noisy. But having this picture gives back pleasant memories from that week on the Canary Islands. This is from Cozumel, Mexico, my own 40th birthday. I decided to make a funny pose next to this statue. There is no real reason behind that pose. As you can see, the wing of the bird is missing to the right. The boat in the background is in the way. It might be possible to edit that boat out of the picture. Perhaps another aperture setting would have been better. Still, actually the rule of thirds almost applies, without me knowing about it. The Golden Pavilion, Kyoto, Japan. Another one of those pictures taken in the middle of the day. Still evenly lit. Some trees is blocking parts of the left side of the building, but a branch is seen in the foreground, giving us some depth. Another framing of this subject, and ultimately another time of the day, should have made this a much better picture. Le Mano de Punta del Este, Uruguay. Sorry, my Spanish is not that good. There are so many things wrong in this picture. Not all 5 fingers are visible. Perhaps this is not that important. There are too many people in the way, but that can actually be used as an advantage depending on what story you would like to tell. The pictures in the background is most annoying. Another aperture setting might have fixed that problem. Pretty boring picture, but it tells a story, at least to me. This was a second-hand camera shop in Seoul, South Korea. I had withdrawn 2 million wons in cash. The price for the second-hand Canon lens was 1.9 million won. Even though I have sold that lens now, I still remember this day. The picture was actually taken with my friend's iPhone 6. A big step up, both for my photography and this animal. This is Kruger National Park, South Africa. On a 12-hour safari, this was our last animal needed to make the Big 5. I was able to capture this with the Canon 5D Mark III, the 70-200 lens, with a 2x converter. It is not that easy to tell that this cat is about 4 meters up in the tree. Perhaps one of the most memorable pictures of all of my soon-to-be 60,000 pictures. Boring choice of subject and wrong time of the day. Several other pictures from this trip is more interesting, but still, most likely you will also take a photo of this building. And we can tell how big it is by seeing the people on the stairs to the right. The sky is not that fun, and it is not that easy to know what part of the picture you should start looking at. Using a focal point or leading lines could perhaps help. 5th time visiting USA, but this time also a couple of days in Toronto, Canada. Of course, you have to visit the Niagara Falls. A selfie! Not a super bad composition. I am in it, but I'm not looking into the camera. Both the boat and the fall is showing. The actual size of the fall is hard to tell from this picture, even though you might guess from the size of the boat. I know that choosing a perfect combination of place, time and focal length is super tricky. If you don't have a lot of time, that is. My hometown of Uppsala, Sweden, early in the morning in March. A lovely building that is not an obvious choice to take a photo of in this town. Most likely the cathedral or the castle is a more common choice. I just wanted to show the color of the sky, the reflection in the river, and using the branches in the foreground to frame the subject. The bridges in the foreground is perhaps in the way, and the exposure could be adjusted somewhat, but still, I am pretty happy with this picture. This video was planned in advance, and I even wrote the manuscript. I hope it shows and that the content was interesting enough. To see more about travel and photography, you should comment, like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon again. Bye bye.